In one of the most savage, jaw-dropping nights in late-night television history, Jimmy Kimmel stood on stage and looked straight at a fuming Donald Trump, then calmly ripped into the so-called Teflon president with one brutal roast after another. He exposed the ugly truths Trump desperately wanted buried, especially the quiet moves happening around the Epstein files and a possible pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell, turning a simple comedy night into a public reckoning no one in Washington could ignore. The energy in the studio was electric. Lights glowed hot on the stage as the well-dressed crowd filled the seats. Tuxedos, elegant dresses, powerful faces from politics and media, all leaning forward with anticipation. Jimmy Kimmel walked out with his usual relaxed stride, microphone in hand, a small smile playing on his lips. But his eyes carried a sharper edge tonight. Trump sat front and center, arms crossed, trying to look unbothered, but his tight jaw and shifting posture showed the tension already building. Kimmel didn't waste a second. He leaned into the microphone and opened with a line that made the whole room gasp. "And I'm happy you decided to stay, Mr. President. And don't worry, if we bruise your ego tonight, it'll only make your hands look less disgusting." Laughter exploded across the studio. Some people clapped. Others covered their mouths in shock. Trump forced a tight smile, but his eyes narrowed dangerously. Kimmel kept going, voice smooth but cutting. "The president didn't want to tell any jokes about him tonight, but he also didn't want to pay me $130,000 to shut up. So here we are. Sorry, Mushroom Dick." The crowd roared again. Kimmel paused, letting the laughter roll before delivering another blow. "You truly are the GOAT, a monkey, and a pig. You made America great again." Typically, someone funny shows up to roast the president, but our president is such a delicate snowflake with the thinnest skin of any human being ever. That's why there's no comedian at the White House Correspondents' Dinner this year. He stepped across the stage, the camera zooming in tight on his face. Trump was so terrified of being mocked that he banned comedians entirely. So I decided to host my own alternative roast right here. The audience leaned in. Kimmel's tone grew sharper. But before the punchlines, let's talk about what the White House is quietly trying to bury, the Epstein scandal. The room quieted slightly. Kimmel continued, painting the picture clearly. Maxwell, who is currently seeking a pardon from Trump, sent a mysterious USB drive to the Department of Justice. Republicans will request a pardon. Trump will reluctantly grant it. Well, they wanted it. You know me, I don't get involved. Maxwell tells him exactly what she and Trump's head of the DOJ agreed on. She exonerates Trump, walks free, and everyone lives happily ever after. They are actively plotting a pardon for Ghislaine Maxwell in broad daylight. Gasps and murmurs spread through the crowd. Kimmel smiled, but his eyes stayed locked on the audience and on Trump. "Welcome to the 2026 White House Correspondents' Dinner," he said, gesturing at the dressed-up crowd. "Look at you all in formal wear. I haven't seen this much black since every page of the Trump-Epstein files." The line landed hard. Laughter mixed with uncomfortable shifting in seats. Trump's face tightened further, his hands gripping the arms of his chair. Kimmel turned the heat higher, using Trump's own past against him. 30 years ago, you were just some rich guy on Jeffrey Epstein's private jet out of Teterboro. But you worked hard, stayed friends, shared some wonderful secrets, and because of that, you got to fly on that plane 7 more times. The audience reacted with a mix of laughs and stunned silence. The joke carried a heavy weight that no one could miss. He didn't let up. Spotting Melania in the crowd, Kimmel delivered another savage blow. "Look at Mel, so beautiful. Mrs. Trump, you have a glow like an expectant widow." Laughter burst out again. Melania's birthday is on Sunday. She's planning to celebrate at home the same way she always does. Looking out the window and whispering, "What have I done?" The room filled with applause and laughter. Kimmel kept rolling. As you're all aware, Melania is a movie star now. Her documentary scored 10% on Rotten Tomatoes, a website named after her husband's testicles. The jokes flew faster. Kimmel moved to Trump's inner circle. "Stephen Miller is so racist. The reason he went bald is because his hair was black." The crowd howled. "Stephen Miller puts the cyst in white supremacist. He's like if baby Hitler traveled through time to kill us all." People clapped and gasped at the boldness. Kimmel didn't pause. He roasted the defense and intelligence picks next, mocking Kash Patel and Pete Hegseth's drinking, then turned to Bobby Kennedy with a wild raccoon story. The audience erupted in shocked laughter as he quoted the diary entry, and the punchline about giving his son measles. Even Trump's family wasn't safe. When Eric was born, he was so ugly his father asked Pam Bondi to redact his name from the birth certificate. Kimmel looked straight at Eric. Eric, I'm sorry you could make it tonight, but you look great. You look like an elbow with a face on it. The room shook with laughter. Then Kimmel spotted Marjorie Taylor Greene. In his mind's eye, Christy Noem isn't here, but her husband is... Wait, no, that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. I get why Christy stayed home. If my husband had tits like that, I wouldn't leave the house either. A collective gasp swept the studio, followed by loud laughter and nervous shifting. Kimmel saved one of his sharpest jabs for Senator Lindsey Graham. Brendan Carr is the head of the FCC. Back in September, he tried to get my affiliates to throw me off the air. He said we could do this the easy way or the hard way. Same thing he said to Lindsey Graham 10 minutes ago in the all-gender restroom. The crowd cheered wildly. By the way, where is Lindsey Graham? I saw his Little Mermaid bubble wand in the coat check. Can someone please ping Lindsey on Grindr? Oh, there you are, you sexy little warmonger. The entire studio was alive with energy, laughter, gasps, murmurs, and scattered applause mixing together. Trump sat rigid, his face flushed, eyes burning with anger as the roasts landed one after another. Kimmel stood tall under the bright lights, microphone steady in his hand, completely in control. Trump had tried to protect his fragile ego by banning comedians from the official White House Correspondents' Dinner. Instead, Jimmy Kimmel delivered a devastating alternative roast that dragged every uncomfortable truth into the spotlight: the Epstein connections, the Maxwell pardon plans, the hypocrisy, and the chaos inside Trump's inner circle. He broke every unwritten rule of political comedy and reminded everyone watching that you can try to build a safe space in Washington, but you can never fully silence a comedian with a microphone and the truth on his side. If this roast shocked you, hit subscribe, turn on notifications, and drop a comment with which joke hit hardest. These moments aren't just comedy. They're how the powerful get held accountable. The truth is always funnier than the lies.